Folks, welcome back to the Gold Rush Podcast. I am your host, Javen Takar. We are here with a very special guest, Mr. Niles Hall. The floor is yours. You can go on ahead and introduce yourself. Let the people know what you want them to know.
How you guys doing, man? I'm Niles, content editor for the Spear at San Jose State's lovely the Spear, man. You guys gotta check us out, man. Javin's a part of it. And yeah, we just do good things over here. Let's get into some 49ers talk.
Let's do it, man. Let's hop right into it. A little bit of a bonus episode, no recap, obviously, with the Thursday night game. Nothing going on throughout the week. So let's talk about what's going on with the team. We got to talk about backup quarterback, Mr. Mac Jones, and he is lighting it up for the team right now. What you think about him right now?
Mac Jones really balling. As you've seen with other Kyle Shanahan quarterbacks, when they first start off, he's really grasping the system. Uh, that's what I have to say, man. What do you think?
Dude, I think he's doing great. He's doing about as well as I would think Mac Jones would do. Uh, I do feel like if he was the pick back in 2021, this is the Mac Jones we would have saw. He's got what 905 yards, six touchdowns, one interceptions. He's undefeated. He's lighting up the system right now. He's exactly what Kyle Shanahan needed in a quarterback. Just listen, here's the play. Here's what you're going to read for. This guy is going to be open. And Mac is delivering. And it's not a bad thing that he's the system quarterback, that he's just kind of following what the coach says. Um, I think it's quite impressive how he's moved this offense along, especially with the injuries on the offense.
Overall, I feel like the team has the wide receivers have like Kendrick Bourne.
Have a day.
Before-
Have a Thursday night, Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah, Kendrick Bourne, that's all I have to say, man. He balled out. The connection from New England is, I think that's been a great safety blanket for Mac. Brock Purdy had a rough start to the season. Struggled a bit early on, and I think he's a good fresh start for Niners fans. But you did pay your quarterback $260 million. You need that investment back at some point in the season, and that begs the question: does Kyle Shanahan, if Mac keeps balling, does Kyle Shanahan put him on the bench for your quarterback, or do you kind of just let him ball and then play it out and say Brock's hurt for a little longer? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Brock Purdy's thrown two interceptions in each game this season he's played. Against Seattle, he threw for he got the win. He threw for two touchdowns, but against Jacksonville, it was a really poor showing. And now, after seeing what Jacksonville did to Kansas City, we know this team is a little bit more legit than we maybe thought when the Niners played them. But still, I'm under the impression that Brock Purdy shouldn't have played at all that week. I think that turf toe is really bothering him. He's re-aggravated it. And frankly, I think it's something that's going to linger all season. I think we're going to see a lot more Mac than we might think we will.
Yeah, those turf toe injuries are serious for quarterbacks. You're seeing it with Joe Burrow. His is
Mhm.
a little worse than Brock's is. And I think I agree with you on the fact that it's going to linger, and Mac is going to have to be ready at all times if Brock comes back. I think he doesn't come back at this Bucks game, but the game after that, I think he will have a shot to play. And if Mac somehow pulls off a upset against the Bucks like he's been doing, we all thought there was no possible shot in beating the Rams Thursday night, and he put on a show. He proved us all wrong. And if he does it again on Sunday, it's going to be an interesting conversation in come Monday morning.
100%. Questions were already asked after the Thursday night game, but questions are going to ramp up even more if he does beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off of a mini bye week. I mean, I don't want to call it a quarterback controversy because this is what you want your backup quarterback to do. You want him to go out there and win the games. Uh, but I don't really necessarily think you want him to be winning it this good and looking this comfortable on the field. What I will say, Mac is earning himself a nice paycheck. Not after this year. He's locked in for 2 years, but the year after that, he's earned himself. He will be a starter after the Niners.
I just want to see more Mac Jones, to be honest. The more a quarterback tends to play in the Kyle Shanahan system, the more we really figure out who he is. And again, Brock Purdy had a great start to his career. We all remember that game against Tom Brady, knocking him off. And I feel like it always for 49ers quarterbacks, they always start super, super duper hot. And then it's like one bad game just brings it back to earth. So I want to see if that eventually happens to Mac. If that doesn't, it's like you don't have a problem. But 49ers ownership will for sure have a problem.
Yeah, actually, 100%. I'm glad you brought that up because yeah, Purdy started real hot and then it just seemed like it kind of started to fizzle out. The same thing with Jimmy Garoppolo. He
Yep.
looked really good that 2019 season. I'll never forget it. He looked really good. We're kind of seeing the similarities with Mac Jones.
And you
But
can also say that for like short-term guys like Nick Mullins, CJ Beathard.
yes, yeah.
They also had those games where they just balled out. Is it the system or is it the player at one point? I think in the Kyle Shanahan system, it's proven to be the system over and over again. So we'll look to see how that goes.
Yeah, 100%. And it's a great developmental. We saw it with Sam Darnold too. I mean, what he was able to learn as a backup. So I'm excited to see Mac Jones's future, whether it is going to be with the Niners as a backup, whether Shanahan does whatever he wants to do with Brock Purdy, or on another team. All right, let's move on to the other side of the ball, the defensive line. No Nick Bosa. The past two games have been a little rough without him. How are we feeling? So just right off the bat.
Besides those that goal line stand in a 4th and 1 stop, I mean we struggled to stop the run. Kyron Williams kind of gashed us until he fumbled the ball. Um, Pass rush is increasingly worse. I believe that when Bosa was starting, we were getting around 12 pressures, and now it's back down to 9, and sacks is around 3.5, back down to 2.1. So it's shown that we need Nick Bosa, which is obviously he's a Pro Bowl, borderline Hall of Fame player. So it's shown that we've fell off a little bit without him.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the five pressures against Jacksonville just unacceptable. That can't happen. I'm glad that we saw it ramped up a little bit against Los Angeles, but still, you're leaning on Bryce Huff, who is really more of a rotational guy. You really like to bring him in on the passing downs. And outside of Bryce Huff, a lot of the young guys, you
Yep.
really want Michael Williams to start getting going. CJ West, Alfred Collins. It's all these rookies that you're really hoping just it clicks.
Yep.
So some veterans that are also on the line, Sam Aquanu, he's always been solid,
Good moment.
but again, not necessarily that four down guy. Jordan Elliott, Yatir Gross Matos, who he's always kind of banged up. So it's just the D line. You need more bodies out there, and it feels like the best way to do that is with a trade. So who are some realistic options that you've got in mind?
Uh, Everybody wants to shoot for the moon and say Trey Hendrickson, but if that's not available, I think you can go to guys like Kayvon Thibodeau in New York. They have a deep D line room, so I think they are eventually gonna have to trade one of those guys. And the 49ers, I think Kayvon Thibodeau on the edge, next to Bryce Huff with the speed, it will be a nice balance, just like they had with Nick Bosa until he got hurt. And then you could also go with a veteran like Bradley Chubb with the Dolphins. He's a little injury prone, so I could see the 49ers staying away from that. And what do you think?
Yeah, those are teams that I had. I would love Thibodeau. He's still young and he's fighting for his second contract in the league. Frankly, what better team to come and develop than the 49ers? They've done great things with D linemen. Bradley Chubb was another option, or teammate Jalen Phillips. Both guys very injury
Yeah.
prone, but they've got the talent. So again, if you can kind of you can keep them rotational with Michael, with Huff, with Samo. Some maybe less flashy name options. Arden Key, he's familiar with the team. The Tennessee Titans, they're kind of a sinking ship. I know they just had a big win against Arizona, but are they going to compete for anything? Probably not. So they could be sellers. Arden Key. In New Orleans, Carl Granderson, very underrated guy. He was tearing up our offensive line.
Yep.
I think he could be a very solid piece that will help out the entire defensive line. And actually, going back to the Titans, another maybe unrealistic option. I've got a list of unrealistic options. Trey Hendrickson
Yep.
was obviously there. If this team is 7-1 by the trade deadline, I say send over a second round pick if the Cincinnati Bengals want that,
Yeah.
because then you're proving, hey, we this is our year. We have to strike while the iron's
I
hot.
mean, John Lynch has proven to make that move when the team's in a winning position. We've seen it with Chase Young. We've seen it in
Hmm.
Emmanuel Sanders.
Hmm.
They make that one move to put us over the top, and they've proven to do it over and over again. So I believe they will do that. But then there's also I feel like there's a guy in house that has the talent, but has yet to shown it. And I was a big Robert Bill Jr. guy. I was a big Robert Bill
Get
Jr.
out of here, man.
the Georgia man. But he has the speed to come around the edge, and if they gave him a shot, he's kind of been. I remember last year, I believe it's the last game of the season against the Rams. He kind of went off, or that might have been 2 seasons ago. But he went off. He showed his talent, but he's just always hurt.
I like it. I like, trying to build in house. I was a big Beal fan too. Unfortunately for me, that ship has sailed. But hey, frankly, he does have the opportunity to show what he's got. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Definitely get him out on the field. I think he's still on the
Yeah,
practice squad. I
I
don't
think they
even.
should give him a shot. I believe they called him up last week,
Okay,
or
cool,
on
cool.
the roster.
Yeah, might as well. Might as well. Just to see what he's got. A couple of more maybe unrealistic options, or maybe just veteran options that maybe won't impact too much. Again on the Titans, I think Jeffrey Simmons could potentially be a solid move if we can get him for maybe a fourth round pick, maybe a third
Yeah.
at most.
So,
Yeah.
uh,
I saw Cameron Jordan's
yeah,
name floating
that's what I
around
was
a
about to
lot.
bring up. Cam Jordan. I think if he would ever want to leave the Saints, this would be the perfect opportunity with the nice D line, great D line culture with Chris Kasarik,
Mhm.
and I think this would be the perfect spot for him if he wanted to leave.
Yeah, that's the only thing is I feel like Cam Jordan, he has that connection with New Orleans. I really don't see him. I don't see New Orleans wanting to ship him, and I don't see him wanting to leave New Orleans. And then I got some two big names here that would just be amazing. Max Crosby for Las Vegas. I know the Raiders don't really like to trade with us, but again, if this team is 7-1 by the trade deadline and you really want to make a move, I think Crosby is worth
I mean,
a
Max
fourth round
Crosby
pick.
has the Raiders tatted on him. Ah, I don't think, I don't think he wants to, but it gets to a point with the Raiders, like, are you gonna win? I think it's like 3, 4 years now. It's just, oh, we're gonna win. This is our year, and then it just never pans out for them. Pete Carroll, it's not looking good for them right now.
Mhm.
Hopefully they can turn around their seasons. I have a few Raider fan friends.
Exactly, and I think Crosby he wants to win at this point in his career. The Raiders, they're going through a rebuild. I think he's worth sending that first round pick. The Raiders could use two first round picks.
Yeah, he's just
Um,
a couple. You can go get him.
Facts, yeah. And then another guy, also, hey, Thibodeau's teammate, Brian Burns. I am a big Brian Burns fan. When he was in the mix of getting traded in Carolina, I was hoping the Niners would be in the mix then. I know his contract is heavy. I don't exactly know how it would work on the Giants end, but he's another guy who, if this team is winning, you have to prove to win if you want to make one of these big moves. And if this team is winning and winning, I think it's worth it to go out and get one of those high end guys that may be on the move. Worth at least a call.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to send one of those guys, to be honest. The Giants are an interesting position. They have Jackson Dart. The offense is kind of picking up besides Malik Neighbors getting out for the season. I think they're gonna end up sending one of those guys from extra draft capital to help along with the rebuild. I think it's gonna be Thibodeau or it's gonna be Burns. Yeah, Brian Burns. I think they're gonna end up trading one of those guys, and mhm, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think Hendrickson, Crosby, or Burns would be obviously phenomenal. A little bit more realistic options: Arden Key, Granderson, Chubbs or Phillips, or Thibodeau.
Knowing John Lynch, it's probably gonna be shoot for the moon or just a random off the street. So,
Yeah. It might be Robert Beal. He might be the secret
yeah.
weapon. All right, let's move on to just a little bit of the Tampa Bay preview. Just what this team has to do to win. Tampa Bay's coming off a big win against the Seahawks. How are we feeling?
We're coming off a win against the Rams, so
Bears,
we're
Bears.
both coming in the game with momentum. I believe we're going into Tampa, which I think will play a big role in this game on the road. I think Tampa has a big crowd. It might be hot and down in Tampa. I think this game is going to really test our secondary because Abuka is Mike Evans back or?
I'm not too sure what the word is on Evans. I just know Ibuka and Godwin for sure will be there
Yeah.
though.
Bucky Irving, I believe's out. So I think it's just going to test our secondary. Defensively, I think we're going to have a tough showing. But offensively, I think it's going to be on Mac Jones again. Um, if he continues the trend of limiting turnovers, I believe we'll have a good showing.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. It's going to be a big test for the secondary there. Tough to contain Ibuka. I'm curious to see if Diamador Lenore shadows. He never really chases around receivers, but Ibuka, with him lining up in the slot and how good Lenore is in the slot, it could be interesting to see. I really liked how Daryl Luter played as a boundary corner when he was stepping in for Ronaldo Green. So I mean, if Robert Saleh feels comfortable enough to start Luter to have Lenore be able to follow Ibuka in the slot. That'll be interesting. I highly doubt he does, but I mean, Upton Stout has struggled mightily, and this would be a big battle for Stout. Stout, or even you see Jair Brown playing that
I
slot
don't
too.
think you put your rookie in that situation against another
Yeah.
rookie, but I think you protect your guy. You could even go with the guy like Chase Lucas.
Mm,
He had a good showing in the
yeah.
preseason. He played some minutes last game because of Upton Stout struggling again. I think you at least try that, and if that doesn't work, you just have to stick your best corner in the slot to shut him down. To be honest,
Yeah, I totally forgot about Chase Lucas. I really liked his game in the preseason. That was some good stuff. So yeah, I really wouldn't mind that. You can even start with Lucas there, see how he's working out, and then see if you want to play Lenore there. I really like Lenore in the slot, just in general, but I know all the money is on the boundary corner, so he
I
wants to
think
go out there.
Lenore's best position is in the slot. When
Yeah,
he plays in this slot, like when he's had the opportunity, when we've had those some of those like elite defenses, I believe that's when he's played his best ball.
yeah, and I think part of it too is just he's such a dog and he loves to chase after the ball. It's a little harder to do that when he's on the outside. You don't hear his name at all throughout
Yeah.
the game, frankly, which is a good thing. But I want to hear his name making these tackles and doing all this stuff where the ball is in the run game, especially. Um, we just talked about the pass rush, and I think that is going to hurt a lot. Baker Mayfield does a lot of really good things when he has time in the pocket. I'm curious to see how Salah's going to mix in some blitzes. We've seen him be aggressive with Jair Brown, Upton Stout. Even he's been a
Yep.
really good blitzing slot. Those guys are going to have to be crucial to make Baker uncomfortable in the pocket.
Yeah, that matchup between Salah and Bucks offensive coordinator is going to be the game-winning matchup, I believe. Because I think Shanahan can have the best of the Bucks defense,
Mhm.
or at least put up 20, 27 points to just have a keep us in the game, which he's been doing week in and week out. Just keep us in the game and then have an opportunity to win at the end, which has been every week for the 49ers so far this season.
Lastly, the Niners haven't gotten a turnover this season yet. Do you think this is the game or interception?
It has to be. I mean, what is it the streak like since last season, like the middle of
Yeah, I
last,
think I want to say it's 12
yeah,
games.
12 games, 11 games. They've had like Fred Warner's like every game he just has one or two is just like in his hands and he just
Yeah.
can't hold on to it. But he's been getting those peanut punches, and if he keeps that going, nothing to complain about.
100%. Just one last thing that I wanted to bring up. George Kittle and Malik Mustafa should be coming back soon. I don't think they're going to be back against Tampa Bay, but maybe next week against Atlanta. How big are those two going to be?
George Kittle will be huge for our run game. We've been struggling to run the ball on the ground, and he's one of the best blocking tight ends of all time. And I think you just stick him next to the left side next to Trent Williams. You let those guys just make you a walkway to the end zone.
There you go.
And Christian McCaffrey, he's been struggling in the run game, but he makes up for that. And then Malik Mustafa, I don't know. I feel like a lot of 49ers fans have been overrating him a little bit.
That is correct.
Yes. But I think he's better than who's back there, like Jason Pinnock,
And we got Pinnock and Marquise Sigel, the rookie, back there. So I don't
Marquise
know
Eagle.
who.
Oh, I got some.
Oh, you got some opinions on Marquise Sigel, it sounds like. I,
He made the game-winning tackle last game, so
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
he's struggled in coverage.
yeah.
I'm curious to see who he's going to replace out because Pinnock I think has been solid in coverage for the most part, but
I mean,
Sigel,
Jair Brown also, he's made some plays this season, I believe.
that yeah, I really like I like what they've been doing with Brown, kind of moving him around
Yeah.
in the defense there. But all right, that's all I've got for you, Mr. Niles. The floor is yours. If there's anything last that you want to add in about anything going on.
Thank you for having me on the show. Bold prediction this season. I believe we make it to the NFC Championship. So when we come back, we're in the NFC Championship again. Just want you to replay this clip and then follow me, follow the spear, shout the spear, and yeah, great having me on. Thank you for having me on.
Right on. Thank you, folks, for tuning into this episode of the Gold Rush Podcast. Folks, I'll see y'all next time.
Yep.
Peace out.
Bye.